Good afternoon, everyone. This is week 2 of Spotlight on Success of 2025, and we're going to build off of week 1. I am Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategies and the Success Strategist. Our theme for today is building momentum, turning vision into action. Last week, we talked about really providing a solid baseline with which to grow and scale your business. But first, it takes you to recalibrate where you've been at, where you're going, and how you're going to plan and orchestrate your year using some seminal constructs that we introduced in 2024, and we're going to deep dive into in 2025. So it's really about continuing the engagement, building momentum, and I want to acknowledge you for your commitment in continuing to show up week after week, year after year, because this is really about, when we say turning vision into action, it's not a one and done, it's a continuously innovative cycle, an improvement cycle where you baseline, you plan, you put it into action, you see what's working, you see what needs to be improved, and you iterate forward. Again, that's how we scope and scale to 10x and beyond. So a brief recap of week 1, and that's vision and innovation. We wanted you to identify your key goals for 2025 and explore innovative ways to achieve them. And then we focused on goal alignment, which is really aligning our business objectives with our personal and professional values and our mission, because that creates a much more sustainable path forward. So we call this success alignment. And so what's interesting is, if you want to put it into the meetup discussion, if you want to put it into our discussion on social media, what specific goal did you set and what progress have you made since last week's session? And so as we look at moving from idea to execution, we want to be focused on building that strategic roadmap if you've not done so yet. And what does that mean? It means we have to break down our vision. We need to revisit the big picture goals for 2025 and identify the key milestones that are needed to achieve them. It would be helpful if you have crafted your top 3 priorities for each of the quarters within 2025 and write down at least 1 to 3 actionable steps that you can take for each of those 3 priorities. Why does this matter? It's because, again, it's not a one and done process. We need to put a baseline out there, get our ideas onto paper. We need to rethink how that aligns with what our why and with where we're trying to generate revenue and impact, either locally, domestically, or internationally. And so every iteration that we have with regard to goals, priorities, strategic framework, etc., it allows us to get closer to our ideal strategic framework and operating plan for 2025 and beyond. So first, breaking down the vision. If you aren't already there, please do so. Again, big picture goals, key milestones, 3 priorities, and 1 to 3 action steps for each of those priorities. The next is, now that we have that baseline down, we need to use some strategic tools. That could be OKRs, objectives and key results. That could be key performance indicators. That could be other types of SMART goals. That can be other metrics and measurements that we've designed ourselves that fall out of what a traditional OKR or KPI looks like, but the intent is setting high level objectives with measurable results. So an example is increasing some type of sales, and we want to quantify that, achieving, N% of growth in this revenue area by the end of Q1, right? So we have the objective, we have a quantifiable key result, and it's date and time bound, so we keep up the momentum, right? So a SMART goal is specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound, which that OKR is an example of. KPI is going to be more geared towards the key results and outcomes, and it's going to be after, post, did we versus this strategic alignment, right? So OKRs, strategic in nature, could be longer term. KPIs is how we can use KPIs to quantify an OKR with more specificity. So again, achieving, N amount of growth in revenue area X by the end of quarter Y, right? You decide what that looks like for you. The next aspect we need to focus on is we need to do more with less, right? So if we know that we can't do it all, we have two primary mechanisms we can use. One is we go through and we use the delegate, delete, delay tactic, right? So what is in my plate that falls under my bright blue line? And for those of you that are still with us from 2024, that bright blue line is, I want to achieve dollar amount of revenue in 2025. In order to do that, I want to work this many hours. Revenue divided by hours gives you the revenue per hour. And if you are undertaking an action with an impact or a value that falls below or even at that bright blue line, we want to ask you to delegate. The next is we want you to look at all of the things that you're doing. And for those things that are not, you have not refactored in as a priority in one of your upcoming quarters, we want you to delay or better delete, right? So is this something that you've been doing because you've always been doing it, but it no longer strategically and operationally and tactically aligns with the outcome that you're looking for in 2025? You can parking lot it for 2026 or delete it altogether and say, we're going to put in place new ways of orchestration and operationalizing our strategic goals in 2025. And this is no longer suitable for us because it doesn't derive the revenue or no longer adds opportunity to achieve the impact that we've stated as most important for 2025. So delegate, delete, delay. The next is, if it's above your bright blue line, then you need to operationalize it. And it's very important for you to figure out, how does that work? Is it a must do because your organization has an operating requirement? I need insurance. I need the legal construct. I need to stay compliant with reporting. I need to stay compliant with cyber. I need to stay compliant with GDPR, etc. Then you need to look at, again, if it's necessary and the action is something that is about sustaining your organization so that it can continue to operate in 2025, that's a must do. And then you have to figure out, can someone else do this for you? Because it's likely not going to generate the income potential, but it's the baseline from which revenue through that organizational construct is made feasible. So one of the top things to delegate to a trusted party. The next is Am I driving revenue enhancements, or am I driving cost efficiencies? This is a big area for potential delegation through a trusted partner, a consultant, and et cetera, right? So you can bring in a 1099 if you don't want to amplify your employee base at this stage, or you can bring in new employees or a partner, right? There's multiple ways to go at this, but the thing is heightening revenue, driving cost efficiencies, because that's going to help you continue to focus on revenue producing or cost efficiencies that will enable your organization to achieve more profit in 2025. And so again, trusted partner, that's number one. Is there a party that you know of or can create a trusted framework for bringing in that will help you with either, is that business development, is that cost efficiency or operational efficiencies? And then, or is it something you really love to do and it's your core competencies, then keep it. But we always want to be delegating as much as possible, because then you can become the super visionary, the super orchestrator, instead of the super execution achiever. So delegate, delegate, delegate is going to be our main focus for 2025, so that you can focus on growing and scaling your business in 2025 and beyond. The next is innovating within your niche. So we want to, in this focus area, rethink how we're doing customer engagement, how we're adopting new technologies, and how we're creating unique value propositions. Again, part of what we're doing here is ascertaining which customers are profitable, which customers are not profitable. Are we engaging with customer segments that no longer serve us and that no longer fit into our balanced portfolio of products and services? So part of what we need to do is harnessing these innovative tools and these quantitative analysis mechanisms in order to decide, is our customer base the right size, the right mix, the right placement? And if not, then we need to be thinking about, as we move forward in the year, how do we re-engineer our customer portfolio to drive heightened revenue, optimize cost efficiencies, and produce the revenue and the impact and the market segment reach or growth that we're after. So again, rethinking customer engagement. How do we adopt new technologies to drive revenues and create cost efficiencies? And how do we create unique value propositions? We will go into this more in over the next couple weeks of 2025, because there's a lot there with regard to what we can harness from commercial, what we can that could be, you know, somewhat less costly, but will give you the data and the dashboarding and the scorecarding to allow you to see where you're at with greater specificity, so that you can make decisions in more real time to help you scale and grow. The last but not least is going to be really about enabling for optimization. So here is about, if we think about our various strategic models, one of them is the business model canvas that allows us to rethink how we're offering our products and or services to our customer base. So if you have not visited the business model canvas, it is a phenomenal tool to help you see how you can innovate from an operational construct standpoint, so that you can then build out the balanced portfolio of products and services to your customer base. So you get, as I was saying, this focus on, do we have an optimal customer base, is going to depend on the business model. Now, you may be a serial entrepreneur and have multiple businesses that you are doing this within. The business model canvas is a great way to see segmentation across. So do you have some conflicting organizations, or are you streamlining and optimizing for them to work cohesively together, if you will? So it should help you balance risk. It should help you create deeper and more global partnerships, and it should help you with your market segmentation growth exercise. So again, the business model canvas is key to helping you understand how you can move forward with your organizational construct. The next is, once you have figured that out, then we need to understand the best funding model, the best opportunities and growth that can be had via partnering, joint ventures, other kinds of partnerships, and then with networking and continuous learning. So we're hitting the tip of the iceberg with regard to how we approach 2025, because we want to go from that strategic vision and framework that we talked about in week 1 into how we're operationalizing this for the rest of the year. So 5 steps: vision, strategic tools, time management and productivity, innovating, and then enablers for optimization. So we can think about really an example of how entrepreneurs have done this. And I'm going to bring to you Miss Melanie Perkins and Canva, right? So if we think of Canva or Canva, however you might say that, she turned a simple idea about making design accessible and operationalizing it for non-designers into a billion-dollar business. So she started with a small solution for students creating yearbooks and expanded it into a global platform. So let's talk about how she did this and how you can look at your business through this lens. She identified a gap. She focused on a problem that her customers faced, and she created a solution that was easy to use. It's templatized, it's drag and drop. It takes all of the complexity and feature-rich objects and elements and puts them into an easy, intuitive to use user interface that lets you make products for every aspect of your business. Doesn't matter if it's social media, meetings, videos, PowerPoints, infographics, things for marketing, things for your C-suite, things for your middle management, things for your workforce, things for your customers and your partners, etc. Right? So identification of the gap, a solution that's intuitive and easy to use. She scaled it with simplicity, cloud-based, subscription-based, made some free, made some on a subscription base, and then now is implementing or integrating AI, greater designs with regard to graphics, with designs with regard to video, integration so that you can actually host a meeting now through the interface, etc. So identified the gap, scaled with simplicity and value across all of the areas that a business traditionally uses for internal and external outreach, marketing, etc. And then again, continuous innovation and continuous improvement over the years with regard to asking for feedback and then ultimately achieving success. So our challenge for this week is, how can simplicity and a customer focus better help you refine your business strategy? So for your unique value proposition, we want you to reconsider that. What problem are you ultimately solving? And how many different ways can you deliver solutions more effectively? So that really sets the tone of building momentum, turning vision into action. Our 5 steps for how we're going to do our challenge based on this success story. Again, Miss Melanie Perkins in Canva. And then here's a couple other focus areas to build the bridge between here and there. And then we're going to talk about a couple tools and resources that might help you over the next week and on through 2025. So our discussion for today, continuing that challenge, is what is the one action that you will take this week with regard to identifying the gaps, scaling with simplicity, and looking at how simplicity and customer focus can help you refine your business strategy. Also, we want you to reconsider your unique value proposition. What problem are you solving, and what are the different ways you can deliver that solution more effectively? Then we want you to ask, what obstacles? So the action should be around that set of learning for yourself and or your team. Next is, what obstacles are you currently facing? And is there a mentor or a peer group that can help you overcome them? Again, global innovation strategies here for you if you need it. And oftentimes it helps if you have the conversation with your team first, so you can understand how they may be getting constrained through some obstacles that maybe you don't see because they're not visible at your level as solopreneur, entrepreneur, or high level business leader. So again, work with your team, figure out what obstacles not only you, but they are facing. And do you have some internal or external mentors or peer groups to help you? Again, global innovation strategies here to help. CEO at GBLINNOV We want to be there to help you collaborate, to identify opportunities that can be identified that are 1 degree of separation from you that could help benefit your business. Last but not least on this topic today is we're going to talk about a few tools and resources. So I'm not going to give you all the names of the tools, but I'm going to plant the seed for next week so that we can talk about them then. First is technology tools for productivity and organization. Much like time management and productivity, there is tools specifically for productivity and organization or orchestration. And we want you to be thinking about how you can potentially adopt and utilize them for higher performance. We also want you to be thinking about funding mechanisms and the set of information or tools that are available to you to help identify them. The next is tools that allow you to grow and or network from a business perspective. So it's going to help you identify events around the globe or knowledge bases and networks, or it's going to enable you to have participants join in your online communities or forums. And then last but not least, we're going to talk about educational and development tools so that you can scale further faster. So again, we hope that this session has been of value to you as we build momentum to turn vision into action. And we'd love to encourage you to engage in our discussionary social media or on Meetup about 1 or more insights you gained today that will directly impact your business this week. And what is your next immediate step so that you can grow and scale your business moving forward? So we challenge you to take 1 actionable step Share your progress, share your lessons, learn. Again, focus on identifying the gaps, scaling with simplicity, and looking at how you can build greater resiliency into your organization. Momentum is built on action. So let's keep building, collaborating, and pushing forward together. We'll see you next week as we continue to scale and grow to 10x and beyond. This is Dr. Rhonda Farrell, the CEO of Global Innovation Strategist and the Success Strategist, bringing you week 2 of Spotlight on Success.